Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar Dee Eight. Hey, that's mine. Give it back. No, I'll eat it. Asmo, pass. Kya ha ha ha. Over here, Levaya Une-sama. I wonder where they swiped it from. They were fighting over a donut or something, playing around really loudly. Hey, Angie-sama is reading, so can't you be a little more quiet? Yelling stuff like that makes you the loudest one, Satan. Be silent, you foolish little sister. You're the loud one, Une-sama. Is there something you'd like to say to me? I was already used to the oldest and the third oldest sister arguing with each other. Even though they're both so quick to anger, it's a bit funny how they're both having to hold back a little. They might have you surprisingly like each other. You were told to be noisy, but this is a bit too much. Should I make them lower the volume a little? They can mess around all they want. It's 100 times more pleasant than the shrill laughter in the classroom. Angie-sama, go to the next page quickly. You read really slow. You like to read, Mammon? You look like you'd be the worst at doing boring things. Mammon controls greed. That also includes a thirst for knowledge. Still, she wants to keep that knowledge all for herself, so be warned that she refuses to let people read any book you give her, and sometimes burns them after reading them. I like knowing things that no one else knows. I like being able to do things that no one else can do. So I like studying and practicing because I want to keep wisdom that no one else knows about all to myself. As Mammon said that, her eyes sparkling, she peered down at the page that was open and read through it again. You could see the greed that made her covet that page even more thoroughly than I did. As you can see, my magical power has grown much stronger than it was on the first day I summoned them. By now I've gotten so that I can summon all of the 7 Sisters of Purgatory at once, and still calmly read a book like this. This place, although I can't recall exactly where it is a quiet and calm street side bench. I've been young back then, so I don't remember the details of its location. Still, I remember that my days walking here were a lot of fun, together with Dad, Mom, and even Oni-chan. It was a memory of a very rare and very happy day when everyone had been together. The people who walked by every once in a while didn't notice me. They just pleasantly ignored me and passed by as though everything was normal. Even the 7 Sisters' incredible outfits weren't embarrassing or anything, because it wasn't like anyone was actually watching. Come to think of it, I'm getting pretty used to it, as long as they don't make me wear those. I was sitting on a stylish bench, memorizing a timeline for world history. In an academy system where everything is based on collective responsibility, there's no tolerance for dunces. It seemed that I was considerably below the average for the class. According to those extremely intellectual girls, if I alone improved my grades, the average would rise drastically. They had been kind enough to show me a graph drawn by colorful pens on B4 sheet of drawing paper. Just thinking of the effort it taken to draw that was repulsive, but I've already spat out all those complaints. I've already voiced my constant and furious anger and sadness to these girls here. The sisters were sometimes indignant, sometimes sympathetic, and sometimes mourned along with me. I was truly happy to be able to share emotions like that with friends. It's said that they were originally furniture that existed to carry out Beatrice's cruel sacrifice ceremony. According to the occult message bottle, I hated. It seems that several of them even attacked my family, but I don't believe that, and it's pointless to question them about it. They are furniture, so they only respond to their master's requests. Even if they really did attack my family, I can't hate them. What I really hated was the Golden Witch Beatrice, or else the ringleader of the Ushiromiya suspicion, Aunt Ava. Angie-sama, quickly, the next page. Oh, sorry. I'm tired. Mind if I take a break? Kya, Angie-sama said break. Let's play, let's play. Angie-sama, let's play. When they noticed that I had interrupted my study, the most energetic youngest sister gathered around me. And that wasn't all. Even Maria Oni-chan and Sakutaro showed themselves. They had probably been very close by, but they had been hidden themselves so they wouldn't interrupt my studying. Uryu, Angie, how's studying, how's studying? Kya, Sakutaro, how are you? Wait a second, let me squeeze him too. Don't we always say that the first one to get there wins? Kya, cute, cute. Ukyu, you're crushing me. Uryu. Your luck ran out when you showed up. All 7 sisters were gathered. Give up and let us hug you. Come on. It always turns out this way. I apologize, my stupid older and younger sisters. Ah ha ha ha. Sakutaro's happy to meet everyone too. How's it going, Angie? How's the studying going? Thanks. Well, not bad. They were nice enough to pass around the printouts from a quiz that another class took earlier. Their beautiful sense of solidarity is enough to bring tears to my eyes. Well, at least it's probably better to put a timeline into my head. Uryu, you sure are good at studying, Angie. You'll be able to get a lot of points, Uryu. Good work. I was terrible at studying, so I'm jealous of you for being able to get a good score when you study hard. You're joking. When it comes to English, Latin, and knowledge of the occult, you're much more amazing for being able to remember so much. I can remember when studying anything magic, but I can't remember anything boring, so that didn't help at all for tests. Well, it's true that the occult knowledge would be like that, but your grades must have been pretty good in English, right? In the first year of elementary school on a Japanese language test, there was a problem when I was given a picture of a gun and was told to write its name in 4 squares. It got marked wrong because I wrote the English word for rifle in katakana. Why? Doesn't that fit? It was supposed to be the Japanese word for gun in hiragana. I was told that's wrong because you don't learn katakana in 1st grade. I didn't really get it, so from that day on, tests I wrote everything in hiragana, but I got in trouble with Mama for some reason. Got in trouble with the teachers too. You were probably born in the wrong country, Oni-chan. Then I'd rather have been born in a country of witches so I could enter witch school. Ooh. If that happened, you might have had much, much more wonderful magical friends. Uryu. Ooh. But it's not like I mind it now. After all, I can use lots of magic, and I've got a lot of magic friends. Sakutaro is all I need. I'm not the only one. There's also Sakusuke and Sakukichi, the animal band, Shimoto-kun, the seal, Sanane-san the rabbit, Mr. Pig-kun, and plenty more. Incredible. The number of Oni-chan's friends keeps increasing. Every time I ask, the number of names for her friends grows. But there's no doubt that Sakutaro is her best friend. I'm a little jealous of all those close friends. What do you think? How are the 7 sisters? Do you get along with them? Those sisters are really energetic. They sometimes say shady stuff, but they aren't bad. I'd wanted to get a cute kid like Sakutaro, but I think being with them now is more than enough. Giggle. If you learn more of my magic origins, I'm sure you'll be able to give birth to friends you'll like. Angie, creation is still a bit too hard for you now. There's a difference between creation and summoning, and the resurrection is also different. So, your greatest wish really is to revive your family? Yes. I have a vessel for it. This. That's right. I'm sure that hair accessory will eventually become the key to summoning a battler. The rest is up to your training, Angie. Although, not knowing how long it take is enough to make me cry. Uryu, stay strong, even if it's tough. If you don't give up, Angie, it will definitely come true someday. If someone gave me some proof that it'd definitely be granted, at least that would calm my heart. Uryu, then I guarantee it. Without a doubt, Angie will surely have her wish granted someday. Thanks. I'm glad to hear it, even if you're just saying it to console me. It's not like that, Uryu. Stop it, Angie. That kind of emotion will turn into the magic-resisting toxin. The feeling that your dreams will definitely come true is the best seed that buds into magical power. That's right, sorry, teacher. You need to be a bit greedier, Angie-sama. Go however far it takes to get the thing you desire. You're lacking the willpower to never give up until you get it. Uryu! That isn't true, Angie's doing her best. Thanks, Sakutaro, Mammon. Crying about it won't help anything. There's nothing I can do except hang in there. I'll try hard. I'll grit my teeth. I'll definitely make my dreams come true. With certainty. Uryu! You're awesome, Angie. Do your best. Mammon and I will support you. Yes, we'll support you. The greedier our master is, the more our own worth will increase. More importantly, Angie-sama, we finally got 10 people gathered together here. We plan to have everyone, say, play Shitori or something. If you lose, there's a punishment game. Let me nibble your ears. Come on, is hunger the only thing that's inside that head of yours? Please forgive my foolish sister's stupid proposals. Are you sure it isn't about time you returned to your studying? No. I waited so long for you to finish studying, so I can't stand it now if you don't play with us. I don't think it's a bad idea. Perhaps playing every once in a while is good for softening the mind. You govern sloth, right, Belpha? What you're saying sounds reasonable, but you actually being sneaky, aren't you? Humph. My apologies. You are diligent, Angie-sama. If it's okay with Angie, I'd also like to play with everyone. Let's make some noise. It'll definitely be fun. Uryu! Angie, let's play. Let's all do Shiratori. In that case, let's start from Sakutaro's Uryu. In that case, which sound should we start with the next word from? Ryu? Or you? From Uryu? I wonder. Maybe it really should be Ryu. It's rare for a word that ends like that to come up. Then I'm first. I'll do a word starting with Ryu. Ryuza, watch crown. I wanted to go first. Ryu-2, lute, would have been wonderful. Zoo? Feels like we keep getting tough ones. Wait a sec. What order are we going in? Who's next? Uryu! I don't think it matters who. Whoever thinks of a matching word first. What's that? Sounds interesting? How about the person who can say the most wins? It's fast-talking Shiratori. Then I'll go. Zucchini. Nini Itami garlic stir-fry. Mekabu pasta. All of them are delicious. Yeah, I said 3 of them. Bells takes 3 points. Can you use conjunctions? If you could use with, then anything would work. The last one doesn't count. -1 point. Let's start from me. Then I'll go. Merengue. Gay? Ooh. Uryu. Cedo? Drainage system. Umatatechi? Reclaimed land. Shitsu basement. How'd you like them apples? One-sama, those are all pretty crummy words. Giggle. So what? Then why don't you try following up with something refined? Anyway, that's 3 points for me. The next one's Sue. Okay, Sue. I've never played such a weird Shiratori before. Ooh, it's fun. Uryu. I don't get it at all, but it's fun. Uryu. I have played normal Shiratori before, but I've never experienced a Shiratori this weird. That's only the lively 7 sisters, Maria, Oni-chan, Sakutaro, and me. I'm now surrounded by friends that are so fun to be with. The courage to accept a world of magic, a world of witches. That alone didn't change the fact that I was still locked up in an academy, without a single friend in my class, but despite that, I'm able to have such a fun and lively time. I'll also become a witch, like Maria Oni-chan, and someday I'll add my family to this fun circle. Dad, Mom, and Oni-chan. And if possible, George Oni-chan and Jessica Oni-chan, and the other relatives. I'll call everyone here without a single person missing, and we'll all gather together. This is my dream. That's right. Until I make that come true, I definitely won't lose heart. I'm sure you'll be able to become a great witch, Angie-sama. As long as you believe in that, we 7 stakes of purgatory will always serve by your side until that day comes. You'll be there for me, no matter how long. You'll lend me your strength. Of course. After all, I'm your friend, right, Angie-sama? Yes, that's right. Let's all stick together and play together. Today and in the future, always and always. Until the day your dream comes true, Angie-sama. The lively 10-person game of Shiratori, alongside a street cut off from time, under the constantly bright rays of the sun, could have continued forever. Wait, seriously? What's going on, Ushiromiya-san? In the end, I wasn't able to get a very good grade on my test. I tried memorizing things in my own way, but if you could manage anything by cramming the night before a test, no one would ever have to worry about tests. Normally, you know the problems beforehand, you shouldn't be able to pass easily, right? Easily? It's true that we didn't go so far as to write the answers into the blanks for you. We thought you'd studied at least that much. What the hell? Come on, are you serious? I can't believe it. They're almost all wrong, aren't they? Did you really study properly? Did you give me wrong fucking answers? Did you set me up to fucking fail? After all, you gave me a timeline and you wrote things out for me. You also made a fucking chart to explain how much I was fucking holding the class back. Which in and of itself took the most effort. You put the most effort into being fucking spiteful more than anything else. So at the end of the day, you're okay with being punished as a group as long as you can blame me as a scapegoat. You gave me faulty notes. You purposefully wrote bad notes for me so that all of the answers I wound up learning were wrong. Well, you guys are jerks. Not that it matters that much. I got straight A's in school. I still work manual labor. More or less. That isn't what you call more or less, Ushiromiya-san. It's so horrible that it makes me dizzy, okay? Oh God, please forgive her for getting such a miserable grade on such an easy test and for making the average score of the entire class plummet. Giggle, cackle, laughing bitch noises. The same test had been given in another class first. That test paper had been obtained, so the average score for our class had been unusually high. Enough to obscure my slight improvement. However, there were some things I had no excuse for. If I had spent the entire day studying like mad, I might have been able to get a slightly higher score. But I hadn't gone that far. After that on that day, I spent the whole time having fun playing Shiratori with the 7 sisters, Sakatara and Oni-chan. As expected, the winner had been Maria Oni-chan. She was a strong partner thanks to her wide knowledge of trivia. Sakatara had gotten the punishment game. He spent the whole time cheering for everyone else's answers, completely forgetting to think of any himself. Because of that, he'd been squished by the 7 sisters and had his ears thoroughly nibbled, hadn't he? Hey, are you listening, Ushiromiya-san? They were surrounding me, twittering like small birds. They were annoying, smelly. On the outside of that circle was Mammon and an exasperated expression on her face. This is a messed up school, just like usual. Shouldn't you be more happy as long as your own grades are good? It's probably because of that collective responsibility thing. Instead of worrying about their own grades. And that's another thing I feel like, in general, everyone should try to improve on their own. I feel like any sort of system where like you're graded based on either if everyone does well or if everyone does bad, it leads to problems. As well as there's also the competitive thing where you're not judged by how well you do on the test, but how well you place as opposed to other people. Because at that point, well, it doesn't become an issue of how much you can improve yourself, but how much you can sabotage other people. It's kind of like also say if there was like a certain amount of money, and like obviously like say if you had a classmate and they had a relative that got hurt and the school had some funds, well, if possible you could spare some to help that person. But at that point, if like it becomes a contest of who needs it more, then it becomes an issue of everyone trying to be as much of victim they can be while trying to belittle everyone else. Heck, any kind of extreme view system can be like that. Like if you have a system where people are like, oh, any sort of wrongdoing is capital punishment, then it's like, well, if you're going to be punished the most harsh for stepping on grass, then at that point, why not rob a bank? I mean, if they're both going to be punished the same, it's not like you'll be punished any worse for doing the worst crime. So in that situation, usually people wind up being far more barbaric because there's no incentive to have any sort of, one, proportion to what it is, and two, there's no exception to the law. Like, a law is unjust if there are no exceptions. Because at the end of the day, life is not one cut and dry situation. It'd be like charging someone for murder in the case of someone's death, regardless of the situation, to where you treat a serial murderer the same as, say, someone who has a heart attack while driving and goes off-road by accident, or someone who's driving a car and one of their tires just suddenly pops, or I know we're using a lot of car accident examples. Like, what if a telephone pole falls down and you swerve out of the way of the telephone pole? And at that point, it's like, well, do you then blame the person who installed the telephone pole? The city that was supposed to maintain it? What about if you're a doctor? I mean, obviously, a doctor shouldn't, most doctors have malpractice insurance in case something goes wrong. But obviously, while a doctor should be knowledgeable what they're doing and, be diligent in their job, like not neglect or purposely do anything wrong and actually take, reasonable steps to do the best thing. There's many times in which a doctor does a surgery in which, the doctor might do everything right and the patient still dies. There's sometimes where it's always like just a percentage chance of, success, or like there's many situations in which paramedics wind up, taking gunshot victims to a hospital or something. I mean, they do everything they can to save them and they save many, but there's many people where there's, no matter what they do, it's not enough. Or even then, there might be sometimes that the paramedic does make a mistake. But at that point, you have to understand they're only human and, it's a job that needs to get done. After all, if there's no one willing to be a paramedic, then no one gets saved. But imagine if you charged a paramedic for murder if they failed to save the life of somebody, even if they didn't do anything wrong. And even then, you're like, well, what if they occasionally do some wrong? But then again, it depends on the severity of it. If it's something that was clearly a major egregious violation, then yeah, that's a problem. But if it's just an issue of maybe a small mistake here and there or stuff that just happened, you have to understand people are human. And if you crack down on everyone like that, then you won't have any paramedics left. And then everyone just dies because there's no paramedic able to help them. Obviously, yes, there should be accountability and people should be doing the best they can, especially at a job like that where people's, like an engineer, you're going to do your best to make sure the bridge doesn't fall the fuck over. Obviously, if you're an engineer, you cut corners or you just aren't qualified to be doing the job, well then, yeah, there's some accountability to be had. But even then, you're not going to charge the fucking engineer with murder and have him executed. Same way, like, there's a difference between going out and purposely just murdering people as opposed to, like, shooting someone in self-defense. Like, there's a difference between, like, you go out to a public place and just start shooting people as opposed to someone breaks into your home with the intention of murdering you and your whole family and you shoot them as the only way to not be killed. It's like it's more important to look at, like, any law as a situation of how do you make society function, at which point you have to look at, rather than the exact letter of the law, you have to look at why was this law passed? What is the purpose of it? What is the goal? They're more concerned about how embarrassing it is for the class average to be low, or maybe it's because they really hate the volunteer work they're forced to do as punishment. So in other words, they aren't studying because they want the grades to be good, but because of the collective responsibility and since they hate volunteer work. They're jealous and embarrassed. They don't want to be inferior to anyone, and they don't want to be humiliated. That's the only feeling that drives them to study. What noisy people. If they want to study, why can't they just do it themselves? In the end, without collective responsibility and volunteer work, they'd have no desire to study. How foolish it is to study without knowing the meaning of studying. Still, these guys really are annoying and stupid. Don't you dare disturb Angie-sama's precious day for even a minute. Oh, I hate those people. Just get lost. I'm hungry. Go away now, wah. Sorry, everyone. I wonder why humans are so shameful. It's probably because instead of working hard themselves, it's easier to make you work hard and earn them a higher class average to satisfy their greed. Humans are all greedy, and they'll burden others with their greed to make things easier for themselves. We'll eventually be reunited with them on the mountain of purgatory. When they get to the 5th terrace, they'd better watch their step. Mammon controls the 5th terrace of the mountain that reaches heaven, Mount Purgatory. Since she's saying this, you can probably be sure that after those girls die, their journey to heaven won't be an easy one. No, on the contrary, let them just fall into hell. The class committee went to the student council and applied to use a classroom during lunch and after school. The purpose of use was for a class study group, a wonderful little gathering so that they could all surround me and make me study. I'm so grateful I could cry. Which meant that every day all of my lunch and 3 hours of my afternoon would be stolen. The Academy of Student Councils, with its theme of student self-government, instantly approved of this pleasant activity that the students were taking up of their own initiative. In other words, I was no longer able to escape after school by leaving the classroom. After school, the first class study group meeting started right away. Would they open up a textbook, they carefully explained that even I could not understand. Of course, it didn't turn out like such a naive illusion. After school, in the classroom, dozens of my classmates crowded around my desk. First, before we started studying, why were my grades so bad? What was the reason? It was decided that we couldn't start until I could clearly answer those questions become aware of the problem and show some regret for my actions. Of course, there's no way for me to respond when asked a question like that. They've loathed me all this time. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, you can't answer honestly because, well, they'll just react violently. It's like, okay, you're being questioned by people that are violent and impulsive and who hate you. At that point, you can't really respond with anything, because at that point, they'll just fucking snap at any moment. There's no reason to trust them or even feel safe or even care. And they've rejected me and kept me at a distance, preventing me from joining in on their community. So I've avoided their community myself. They shouldn't have been any conflict for either of us that way. So even in this group that was enthusiastic about raising the class average, they obviously kept me at a distance. Even if I tried to join in, they would probably ignore me like they always did in the past. If you just asked, we would have taught you whatever you wanted, right? Right. They were getting themselves all worked up. I've already had enough of this hypocrisy of their tacked-on excuses. Ushiromiya-san, your problem is that you're lacking a cooperative personality. You mustn't be satisfied as long as everything's good for you alone. This is the kind of attitude where it's like, hey, we're going to treat you like shit and be fucking assholes to you. And then when you refuse to fucking acquiesce and fucking submit to us, well, we're just going to blame you for that and say that's the reason why you had to be punished in the first place. It's literally fucking psychotic. And yet usually the people that tend to act that way usually tend to think that they're like holier than thou themselves. And like they're the heroes of the story and the main characters in the world, and you're just, well, resented for existing. Those who gather in St. Lucia's place of learning shall have a cooperative heart. It's written right there in the student handbook, right? I think having a cooperative heart is what gives birth to the desire to study together and contribute to the entire class. I believe that in itself is the thing you lack before you even start studying Ushiromi-san. But what do you say? Say, Ushiromi-san, the reason why you're studying so bad is because we've decided you're just a little bitch, and you're just a worthless piece of trash, and we all hate you. But you need to... You know, maybe we wouldn't hate you so much if you weren't such a worthless piece of shit that we all needed to hate in the first place. So, you know, you being less cooperative because we're bitches to you is your fault. Because you're not cooperative. It's like it's your fault I beat you because you're sad when I beat you. Like what is happening? The fucking hell. Hey, have you even been listening to us? We went to all the trouble of staying after school to say this for your sake, right? I'm so grateful I could cry. At this point, we're like allowing them to gaslight us, or at this point, to just sort of just accept it and just fucking move on because we're not allowed to resist. And we're shamed for doing so. Then again, we'd be shamed for anything, but most of all for just refusing to basically grovel and bow and be a fucking piece of furniture. Again, a circumstance like this, having some fucking pride and some fucking wrath, that's not a sin at all. That's just being human. Heck, at that point, it's being a good person. It's having some fucking self-respect and dignity in face of situations where, honestly, it is a good and righteous thing to be proud and angry. Of course, they didn't like that. This way, it almost makes it look like This way, it almost makes it look like we're bullying you, they reprimanded me. Fortunately, I'm normally all cried out anyway. If I'm told not to cry, I can hold it back. First, I was made to write a letter of remorse and read it out loud. Of course, this was to be done by today. The class committee politely applied to the student council in the staff room for an extension on the use of this classroom. It seems it was accepted right away, which means that starting now I'll be forced into self-criticism for at least full 5 hours here. Ushiromi Angie got a low score on her test and caused trouble for her classmates. That's not it, right? You're getting low grades and causing us trouble isn't the root of the problem, is it? It's a cooperative attitude, right? A cooperative attitude. Come on! Why do we even have to direct Ushiromi-san how to write a letter of regret? You know? I'm not saying we should. But I wouldn't exactly blame Angie at this point if, you know, we carry out a resurrection ceremony. I mean, if you need 13 people to resurrect one witch, I mean, I'm sure there's enough people in this fucking classroom. I can resurrect everyone who died on the mansion. I have 7 very hyper young women who would be eager to help me. Their abusive jeers flew about one after another. I followed their directions and erased it. Ushiromi Angie didn't have a cooperative attitude and caused trouble for her classmates. Hey, wait a second, it's pointless if you just write whatever we say, right? Do you really know what regret means? It's pointless if you don't write it in your own words. Pointless. I always thought you were a bit strange, Ushiromi-san, but you really are weird. Giggle. Even following their directions didn't change the jeers much. And now it felt like they were mocking me even more. So for several more hours without rest, without even being allowed to go to the bathroom, much less dinner, I was continuously abused. I was coerced into writing a paragraph that humiliated myself. At about 9 o'clock that night, I was told to stand up and read it aloud. The contents were smeared black with tears and eraser marks. It certainly was my handwriting, but it was like a list of soulless letters, whose contents I couldn't even remember. Everything had been copied down according to their orders, so while I had been the one to write the letters, they weren't my words. I had been coerced into writing them down, and even coerced into reading them aloud. Even after all this time, I was surprised to learn that, beyond just ignoring people and hiding their things, there are other ways to bully people. Hey, read it aloud quickly. Look how many people are staying this late just for you, Ushiromiya-san. Why not thank us a little? Oh, it's such a fucking honor that everyone fucking hates me. Isn't the fact that she doesn't feel gratitude a sign that she doesn't have a scrap of cooperative attitude? It's okay, Ushiromiya-san. We'll always be with you from now on. Why not study with us and remake yourself? Okay? Giggle, haha. As I stood by my seat, surrounded by them, I dropped my gaze toward the blackened page, and then I spoke those humiliating words. But right away, jeers flew at me for saying that they couldn't hear and about to speak up. I can't read it. I had no idea that being forced to read a paragraph humiliating me would be so painful. My throat shook. My fingertips shook. The paragraph of humiliation written in my own handwriting made my eyes burn with a hot liquid. So my world blurred and twisted. I saw the girls surrounding me twist and bend. I saw them twist and bend into the impression I had of them. In other words, that was my true field of vision. Beyond that twisted crowd of people, I could see my friends. Compassion could be seen in all of their eyes. Angie, stay strong. Are you? Maria, Oni-chan, and Sakotaro were looking at me with sad eyes. Probably because they realized that even cheap words of compassion would hurt me. They kept alternating between trying to say something and hanging their heads. What the hell's wrong with these people? They're just the worst. Really pisses me off. What's so fun about gathering around Angie-sama and torturing her? It's a resentment they can't voice despite their jealousy. They don't care who it hurts as long as they can let it out. What horrible people. Angie-sama. In this kind of situation, it's okay to go mad with rage for your own honor's sake. Anger is an appropriate emotion and an appropriate reaction. Thank you, Odysseus. Thank you, Odysseus. If you don't get mad now, when will you get mad? Stop it. Don't stir Angie-sama up with cheap anger. Okay, Lucifer is literally the one trying to go the traditional stereotypical cartoon Jesus route. Like I said, everything's a balance and there's a time and place. Just saying. Would not blame Angie at all in this situation. If Angie-sama could do that, she would have done it already. You should only get angry if doing so will improve the situation. However, from an objective standpoint, doing that now would probably only aggravate the situation further. It may be humiliating, but the wisest thing to do now is to withstand it. I mean, at the end of the day, the biggest reason she doesn't have a choice is because she's basically a prisoner here. It wasn't her choice to come here, and she's not allowed to leave. So, she really has no power or control over anything. You really are a sloth, Beltha. Quit fooling around. I can't stand this. I can't forgive them. Everyone, calm down. It'll become a burden for Angie. A burden? What are you talking about? Is this the time or place to be calm? We furniture are not so cruel as to coolly watch when our master is humiliated. Angie-sama, you have no obligation to read such a humiliating letter. If you can't let out a cry of rage, then at least throw it onto the floor. You don't need to trash talk them. You don't need to yell so loud they bend over backwards. Just throw the notebook on the floor with all your might. By doing just that, you'll be able to show your strong will. Don't start running on by yourself, Mammon. I told you, right? If Angie-sama could do it, she would have done so long ago. Nothing will be resolved by the eruption of momentary emotions. Can't you see that by doing that will only make their treatment of Angie-sama even more severe? It's like we're not like we can leave. We're trapped here. Wow. Why is this happening to Angie-sama when she didn't do anything wrong? Because they're in a position to hurt her, so they're choosing to hurt her and be mean to her because it's fun and they're bored and they enjoy hurting her. She didn't do anything wrong. She didn't do anything to deserve to be here or to be treated badly by these people. But these people, at the end of the day, just want to attack anyone that they're stronger than or have numbers over or have any sort of, whether it's status or any sort of availability, making it possible to have power over another person. At the end of the day, they just want to be violent and abusive. Not letting her eat dinner, making her stay so late long after school, I hate it. And it's not just tonight, but tomorrow and the day after too. That's enough. You can't simply sit there bearing this humiliation. Hey, are you really listening to us? Someone tugged at my hair. I was torn back into my tragic reality. I was no longer even permitted to listen to the Seven Sisters, speaking on behalf in my heart. And I'll say this. I can definitely understand this. I spent most of school, like a solid decade at least, being bullied a lot, so I at least spent a solid decade being told to fucking kill myself 1,000 times a day. Every day for a decade. Then again, I also had people criticize me it was my fault for getting bullied because I should have done more and should have been more violent about it. So basically I should have become fucking Michael Myers or fucking Hannibal Lecter. That, I deserved to be mistreated and hurt because I wasn't willing to start killing people. It's like, oh, because you chose to live your life being nonviolent and trying to be a good person and not want to hurt other people and not be, psychotic. Oh, it's your fault for being mistreated. It's you committed the sin of not being psychotic. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, hey, here's a thing that really bad and I felt sad. I did nothing wrong to deserve being mistreated, and I did nothing bad in reaction to it. And yet I'm still condemned anyway. It's like, great, thanks. It's like, what, you were mistreated? Okay, well, let's just criticize you for that more. And like the only sort of advice we can give you is that, oh, you should have become the devil? You should have, hurt people? And like I said, again, I agree, there's a time and a place. But again, it's just, I feel like people a lot of times say that stuff just because, oh, it's just what's normal in society. Like, it's what you're supposed to say. But it's like, but at the end of the day, it's just like, it's not helping. At the end of the day, it's just, it's really just even the people trying to help in that situation, trying to tell you that you were supposed to be violent or some shit. Really, they don't care. They don't fucking give a shit or have any emotional accountability for, one, how it affects you, or for, even if you were to absolutely follow the advice they give you, whether you do that so now in modern time, or if you had actually done what that advice would have been in the past, any of the fucking, aftermath of any of that, let alone how it would make me emotionally feel, no fucking concern or accountability for that. And at the end of the day, the people just want to fucking yell at me, even in a situation where there's, you'd think they'd have some amount of empathy for me. Instead, even their fucking false empathy is just manipulation and gaslighting, and it's just them wanting to feel superior over me and be able to just blame me and wanting to basically just, throw off my feelings as if they don't even fucking matter, and try to feel high and mighty about it themselves with no concern about how I would feel or how things would actually affect me or what even would become of me long term, whether in that, course of action, or even just how I feel in the future about that. At the end of the day, they just want to talk shit to me, and in the end be able to reason that they're right about everything and just praise themselves and pat themselves on the back. It's like there's no actual compassion or understanding. There's no fucking love in it. And it's just very discouraging, very discouraging. My hair was lifted upwards. One of my hair ornaments came off, and I could hear the sound of it rolling on the ground. No one picked it up. To the contrary, they casually avoided as though something filthy was rolling towards them. I tried to follow with my eyes, but my hair was tugged upwards again. Why do you never listen to us? Even though we're talking about something so serious. In one ear and out the other, is it? Does anything get into that thick skull of yours? Get a grip, okay? Are you really conscious of the trouble you're causing us? You aren't going to start saying that you just wrote it grudgingly because we told you to, right? Till you really show regret of your own will, this seriously isn't going to end, okay? It's not just for today. It'll seriously keep on going tomorrow and the day after, you see. Don't you play us for fools, okay? I mean, why are you still even alive? Is it normal to go on living like this? If it were me, I'd just die. You can't live like this, can you? Because you being alive just means being in other people's way all the time, right? Are you trying to get me to... If it were me, I definitely couldn't live on. Yeah, I'd die too. If doing that's better for the world, then I'd die right away, right? Then die. Angie-sama? Kill all of them now. Okay, so I can assume what happens. The magical stake does as its master commands, kills them, and, well, Angie definitely, I'll say this, definitely very angry in the moment, and honestly definitely justified. At the same time, probably going to feel absolutely fucking horrible about this afterward. Like, I'll say this, I've never killed anyone. Heck, I've only ever hurt anyone in self-defense, when they were physically attacking me, and, well, it was necessary to do so to prevent them from killing me. So, and even then, I've never broken anyone's bones, I've never killed anyone. And it was always in self-defense, to prevent myself from, dying. Beyond that, a lot of times I got the shit kicked out of me by 5 versus 1 and such. There's also a lot of times I had various women that decided to want to be violent toward me, but I never actually punched them or hit them back or anything. Heck, I've had many situations where I was provoked and I never did anything. So, I've never hurt anyone except in self-defense, and I've never hit, slapped, hit a woman in any way, even in self-defense. I've had plenty of reasons to definitely be provoked on that. Many different circumstances over the course of my life. But I have never hit a woman, even in self-defense. I guess that's probably a bit sexist and chauvinistic of me. But it's just something, it's kind of like the same thing in general. I wanted to be very much a pacifist most of my life because even from a young age, I was like, well, isn't that what Jesus would want me to do? And I wanted to do what, was right and what Jesus would want. But also there's the fact that, well, in many situations, if I were to do something, I know I would feel horrible about it afterward, and it wouldn't make me happy. At the end of the day, it's a situation as this. Does it make life better? Does it make my situation better? Heck, I'd say a lot of situations. If I ever were to want to go the what's happening here in a second route, the end goal would be just to stay alive and for people to stop hurting me. At the end of the day, when it comes to people that have been a problem to me in the past, I just don't want to be around them. I have no desire to seek revenge or vengeance on people. If there's people that are just really mean, terrible, awful people, then I just don't want to be around them if they're going to be at all a threat or a harm to me physically or emotionally. I'd rather just not engage or be around a situation that'll cause me pain. But I'll say this, like in this situation, it's definitely excessive for Angie getting pushed around like this. And I mean, definitely if you have the magical power to basically elf and lie to people, I really can't blame the person for lashing out in this circumstance. But at the same time, I imagine most people, including myself, would probably be very much overcome with grief and guilt. Granted, is there really anything to feel guilty of? Not really in this situation. But at the same time, it would still be emotionally painful. Because at the end of the day is this. At the end of the day, if you wind up lashing out at the person, does it make you feel better? Does it make your life better? Now, there might be some of you out there that, well, like say someone's being really rude to you and punching them in the face. Well, how do you feel about that afterward? I'd say if it makes you feel better, then I guess that's probably the best way to go about it. But to each their own on that, and of course it also depends on how angry you are. I mean, everyone's got their own limit when it comes to stuff like that, and obviously I'm not trying to advocate or condone anyone being violent toward other people or seriously harming or killing anyone that's hurting you. But at the same time, you don't deserve for, people to be mistreating you or hurting you. So at the end of the day, I'll say this. I'm not going to encourage anyone out there to do anything if they were in the situation Angie's in, but I'm certainly not going to condemn you for it. If you are in this situation, I perfectly understand. I mean, most of my life was, especially when I was very young, was everyone in the world fucking hates me and everybody wants me to die. And everybody tells me over and over and over and over again how much they hate me and want me to die. So I could understand firsthand that that's a little depressing. So yeah, I guess my prediction for how this goes is either the stakes listen to her and she feels a bit terrified at the aftermath and feels basically like a blood on your hands type of moment, if we're going like anime TV tropes, and then basically throws the stakes away and refuses to talk to them anymore because she can't face it. Or it could be that she asks the stakes to do it and they refuse to, or say that they're not strong enough to do it, and Angie feels betrayed. And then she throws them away because she feels that they... Then again, I'll feel that a lot of this was the hair accessory going away from her because it's, about her brother. It kind of reminds me of that Griffith. Granted, Griffith from Berserk did a lot of fucked up things, and even with the shit that happened to him, he was definitely in the wrong for what he did. But at the same time, the things that happened to him were absolutely horrible, and he definitely had a right to kill the people who were responsible for it. But of course, then sacrificing the people who saved him asshole move. But the main point is that he lost his willpower to not be broken by everything when he lost the Behlit. Of course, when he got back, he got hand, all that shit. But main point is this. I can relate to a circumstance like this. I can understand perfectly well that it's a very unpleasant feeling, and I imagine there's other people that understand that emotion too. Angie-sama? Kill all of them now. Lucifer, can you hear me? You seven sisters of purgatory, incredible furniture that can massacre mere humans in a flash, right? You're always boasting about it to me. Then do it. Massacre them right now. So, and it's either like, oh, there's so many humans that the anti-magic power. Either they don't have the power to do it, or they are concerned about if they act on this situation like this, it's a decision Angie can't take back, and it will hurt her, or they do it and she regrets it. But I think it's going to go the route of they can't do it, and she'll feel disappointed and betrayed by them. After all, she is pushed into a situation like this, right here, right now. I suppose it's kind of like the idea of, like, it's one thing to be getting persecuted by your enemies, but if you have people that are supposed to be your friends or your family or God or anyone like that, and they are saying that they care about you and that they're powerful, but then they refuse to use that power to help you, then, I mean, that certainly feels like quite a betrayal. Well, for some reason Lucifer hesitated. Why? What's wrong? You're certain kill furniture that can fly around faster than the eye can see and instantly pierce the hearts of a witch's enemies, right? And I'm giving you an order as your master. Carry it out right away. Kill. Kill them. Angie-sama, please calm down. If they had immediately followed my brutal order, making heaps of corpses with me at the center, I was ready to reflect on my own reckless actions of stealing human lives so readily, ready to regret and repent just as they had wanted me to. I mean, technically they did tell me to kill them. They did say they wanted me to understand the meaning of regret and repentance, and this is the best way to do that. I was prepared to do that, and yet Lucifer just let an unsure expression rise to her face and didn't move to carry out my order. I knew it. Yeah, I knew it, vaguely. No, that's not right. I've known from the beginning. I've known that magic was all empty this whole time, haven't I? The seven sisters of purgatory, yeah, right. Stupid, so pointless. I've known it the whole time. Angie-sama. I glared into the worthless Lucifer's eyes, and pain seemed to accompany that gaze. As though she was being assaulted with a violent headache, Lucifer grasped her head with both arms, but it looked like she couldn't tear her eyes off my gaze, so she was assaulted with pain that grew more and more violent. Yuck. Useless, useless. I hate you. Disappear. You're nothing but a delusion inside my head. Hopelessness and disappointment. Resignation and a dream's end. A cracking sound like you hear from a frozen lake surface during a fierce winter rang out just once. At the same time, Lucifer's form, which was being tormented by a violent pain, stiffened in place and grew cloudy. It was almost as though a beautifully polished glass window had been heartlessly smashed and turned white from countless fissures, and that was an accurate analogy. At some point, Lucifer's form had turned into glass ornament of the same shape. Countless fissures ran through it from the inside, and as the head and arms collapsed, it crumbled to the floor. Eek! Lucine? Who's the second sister? Leviathan? Carry out my orders. Massacre them right now. No, Angie-sama, please calm your heart and listen. Death noises. I'm not looking for excuses or backtalk or an answer. I want nothing more than a swift confirmation of my order to eradicate the girls who are humiliating me. If you're going to say anything else, there's no need for me to listen until the end. After Leviathan also turned white due to countless cracks throughout her whole body, she fell over backwards, splitting into separate parts along her neck, hips, and arms. If she'd been smashed to bits and lost her original form, it probably wouldn't have seemed so brutal. So, seeing the two of them halfway left over made the remaining younger sisters shake even harder. And that's the thing, it's like, yes, by modern sensibilities, this might seem a little odd, especially her orders. But what? If you look at the past, like any story, heck, even the Bible, pick out any single person out of the Bible that was considered righteous. And every single one of them would actually be doing and giving the orders that Angie is right now. You might say, what about Jesus? What about the book of Revelations? And let's be clear. What about King Saul, King David? If King Saul from the Bible were in Angie's position right now, what would he do? What would he say is the right course of action? And it's very clear what the Bible says. Why won't you listen to my orders? Why? Why? But my apologies. Here, under the current conditions, the anti-magic power is extremely strong, and what's that? You can't do it because humans are here? That's your logic? Isn't killing humans what you do? You can't do that, then what use are you as furniture? Die. Eek. But please spare me, Angie-sama. Death noises. As she clutched her head with both arms, Satan also turned white and fell down face first. Apparently the neck is the most slender part of all. Slender part after all. And here's the other thing. The very first thing you do upon awakening Mammon was she tried to kill us. But again, we were all alone, so at the end of the day is this. Like, oh, there's people that can witness it. I mean, technically, if everyone's dead, you can't have witnesses that can say magic or whatever occurred. Though I would say from the logical standpoint, if they actually care about their master, it's like, well, unless we have absolute magical power to fucking save you in this situation, we are literally condemning you to basically go to prison. And also, maybe a concern over the mental well-being of Angie, that even if there was no legal consequence for her actions, one, she'd either feel really emotionally bad about it, or maybe she won't, and it would actually put her on a course to perhaps even be worse than the original Beatrice. Now, of course, it's, again, the Batman logic, oh, if you kill a killer, or you go around that route, like it doesn't have to be a all or nothing sort of thing. You know, just because if Batman were to kill the Joker doesn't mean he has to start killing every other villain. But at the same time, Batman can't go around killing villains because he's a show for 7-year-olds. Granted, it's a show I still enjoy watching now. I'm sure people of all ages still like Batman. But at the end of the day, it's like the old Batman the Animated Series is Y7. It's rated for 7-year-olds. It's rated for kids. You can't have a show for little kids that says it's okay to kill people. Now, from a acknowledging of our world standpoint, the reason for Batman not to do that stuff is his own fractured psychological well-being. After all, a person being pushed to become Batman didn't exactly have a happy childhood. You have to have some sort of emotional push on that would scream some amount of mental health issues. So, otherwise, he would just move the fuck on and just be like, hey, I have $1 billion. I can afford 20 therapists and just be rich. So, for him, he has a strong psychological motivation to become Batman, which gives him a very strong psychological motivation to not break his imposed rules because of his own psychological well-being. Then again, like I said, in the context of that world, one, there should have been so many people accidentally dying. Like, Batman's punching people. Like, people should just die out of accident. And then there's also the villains are, like, killing each other. And, of course, even before the Injustice where, like, Joker nukes a fucking city. I mean, even in a world that's stopped doing capital punishment, I'm pretty sure they would make some exceptions and bring it back for a few people like the Joker. Her head slid off and rolled over to Belphegor's feet. You can't do it because there are too many humans? Then later on I'll call them into the shadows one by one, and you can make a bloodbath of all of them, right? With your current magical power, it may be easy for you to converse with us. However, you still lack the training to materialize this in front of all the humans here. I deeply understand your anger, but even if you could use us to attack and murdered everyone here, that would only make your situation worse. I know it's humiliating, but please control your anger for the time being. And again, I have to reference Odysseus. The story of the Odyssey, especially the 1995, whereas the 1997 movie starring Armand Assante. It's 3 hours long. Now, granted, I know they've made remakes of the movie, but I don't think the remakes are any good. But, yeah, Armand Assante, Odysseus, especially what he says to his son Telemachus. Again, there's nothing wrong with being angry, but being angry is easy. But you have to be angry at the right time, against the right person, the right reason, right time, right place, right reason. Basically, you have to understand the circumstances and the motivations of things. But in the end, he's like, it's not bad to be angry. There's nothing wrong with anger or violence. It just has to be correct. And that's the difficult thing for a lot of people in the world to do. Well, I get the same answer from the next three. Are you going to tell me you can't do it because the anti-magic power is too great? Are you going to tell me you can't do it because my magical power is too weak? Then I won't ask you to kill all of them. Just one person's fine, so try and kill them. Right here, right now. As Asmodeus and Beelzebub held each other, they crouched down, cringing in fear under my glare. If they'd been able to obey my order, they probably would have carried it out immediately. And here they were, crouching down, empty, sad, and pathetic. That's right, I've known. These girls can't even touch reality with one of their fingers. No. Bells, I'm scared, Bells. Angie-sama, spare us. I don't want to die. Die, useless furniture. Why are you guys even alive? Why are you alive when your lives are worthless? It doesn't matter if you die, right? Die. Telling you to die. Do you think any idiot would leave furniture that has no use lying around? But please stop, Angie-sama. What is it, Mammon? Are you going to be the only one to fulfill my order? That's right. You're my best friend. You alone will do it for me. Get them. As you are now, Angie-sama, even if you use us, you aren't capable of committing murder. It's furniture's duty to help with things their master can do. Things that even the master can't do, we can't do. Do you hate them, Angie-sama? You do hate them, right? I totally understand why you want to kill them. Okay, in that case, go ahead and kill them, Angie-sama. If you stay in your own hands of blood, then we, the Seven Sisters of Purgatory, will go along with you however far you go. I'm asking you all because I can't do it myself, aren't I? Isn't being able to do things I can't the thing that makes you furniture? Isn't the whole point of having magic as a witch to do things that you can't do without the magic? It'd be like saying, hey, I'd like to start a fire, and you pull out a fucking lighter. Like, see? It's the sound of the flicking noise that the lighter makes. See, I made fire. Ooh, look, here's a stick of dynamite. Again, that was another thing. It's like, Battler, that was the thing I even said in episode 1. It was like Battler was like, he doesn't have to prove that the thing that occurred wasn't magic. He either has to prove, A, that it was impossible for magic to occur. Like, technically, you can disprove witches and the magic in 3 ways. 1, prove that it was impossible to be done with magic. 2, prove that it was 100% assuredly done with a trick or human technology, with science. So you can either 1, prove that magic is absolutely impossible, 2, prove that it absolutely was done with science, or 3, prove that there was a way to do it with human skill that would have been equivalent to the magic, without proving that the human method was what was done, and without disproving that magic was used. That's still a valid answer. You're like, how does that work? Well, again, answer 1, you prove that magic can't exist. That's a valid answer. You win. Second, you specifically prove that a human thing was used to do it. In this situation, magic could still surely exist, but you've proven in this situation that it wasn't magic, and in this one circumstance, that it was human intervention that did this thing. So in this situation, it's perfectly possible to reason that magic 100% exists, but you've proven that it was not used at all in this situation. And then answer 3 is where you can neither affirm nor deny the existence of magic and have no proof whatsoever that the human tool was actually used in the circumstance. But if you can prove that the great magical thing could have been done, even if you have no evidence disproving magic, and even if you have no evidence proving that the scientific thing was done, if you can prove that the magic was so menial that it was at least equivalent to something a human could have done, to the point that even if there's no evidence disproving magic that was done, even if there's evidence proving that magic was actually used in what occurred, like even if there is no proof disproving the magic and no proof proving that the human intervention occurred, and even if you have concrete proof that magic was actually used to commit the closed room murders, and concrete proof that human intervention was not used, if you can at least prove that it was possible that someone could have, even if there's proof that it didn't, even if you can prove that you could do the same task as the magic with a human skill, you undercut the value of the magic in comparison, and so you make it less valuable because it's something that can be easily duplicated. Like the whole point of okay, you can fly through the air because you can't just do that on your own. But at the same time, you had a magical spell that let you jump 1 foot in the air. That's not really valuable because anybody can do that. Has to be something that is unique. Yes, we are furniture. Furniture to be used. Please go ahead and use us to kill. You'll be the one killing Angie-sama. If you're saying that you want to kill, then go ahead, be my guest. No need to hesitate. Go and carry it out right now. And once you prepared yourself mentally, once you're prepared to do dirty your own hands, then we'll help you. But you haven't done that, Angie-sama. Peh. Laughter noise. Ha ha ha. Don't speak, furniture, you delusion. I get it already. You don't all have to tell me. You people can't do anything. You're nothing more than my delusions, illusions, daydreams. I haven't had a single friend from the very beginning. You're just a phantom, a pretend friend I created in my heart in my isolation, right? I've known from the very beginning. Ha ha ha. Yeah, that's right. We're an illusion inside your head, Angie-sama, but so what? Yes, that's true. We're just imaginary friends created to soothe lonely Angie-sama's heart, because she doesn't have a single friend, but so what? If you want to look at reality, just look at it. You can stop looking at us and return to being surrounded and bathed with jeering over there. Come on, go back. Welcome home to reality. Just call on us when it's convenient for you and pretend you have friends. Then spur us on even though you don't have the guts to dirty your own hands. Then deny and erase us once you realize that it's hopeless. Yes, please enjoy it. I'll leave with a shriek of anguish just like you want, Angie-sama. Just copy the jeering that you're being showered with right now. And do the same to us and get it off your chest. That's also furniture's duty. Getting slammed against the floor when someone's pissed off is also a chair's important duty. If that alone can absorb their master's bad mood even for an instant, there can be no greater honor for furniture. Kill me, deny me, your first and final friend. At the end, Mammon had a mocking expression on her face, but for some reason it looked like splashed with tears. Mammon, Beelzebub, and Asmodee smashed and fell to the floor. Uryu. Come over here, Sakutaro. Angie is a little agitated right now, so you mustn't get close. What about everyone else? Are all 7 sisters alive? Did they die? It's okay. It looks gruesome, but those are the remains of their vessels after being deported from the human world. Shells that have been shed. So it's alright. They're probably deeply hurt, but they're okay. Everyone is alive. I'm sure we'll be able to meet them again someday. Uryu, thank goodness, thank goodness. Angie has violated the contract of marriage sorcery. To do such a horrible thing, even though witches of the Alliance must respect and accept one another, even though they were all important friends to you, Angie. No witches alliance has anything to do with this. Magic friends, give me a break. I killed them, erased them. I smashed the 7 sisters. Uryu, that's so cruel, so cruel. Just give it a rest at the playing witches thing. I'm begging you. Maria, Oni-chan, Sakutaro, I want you to disappear by yourselves. Even in my imagination, I don't want to kill and erase you. But we aren't your imagination. We're your friends, Angie. Uryu? Sakutaro said that as he hid behind Maria Oni-chan, sobbing. Sakutaro doesn't exist. Sakutaro is also an imaginary creature Oni-chan created to distract herself from her loneliness. Uryu, it hurts, Maria. Why? Uryu. Stop it. Denying my friend is the one thing I will not permit. The same power that had smashed 7 sisters was probably eating into Sakutaro as well, but Maria Oni-chan was apparently protecting him with some other power, so Sakutaro's form didn't break and scatter. Oni-chan glared at me sharply. It was a serious expression that I had never seen before. Sakutaro is my furniture. You cannot erase him, Angie. However, trying to deny someone is the greatest form of scorn for a witch. Sakutaro didn't exist from the very beginning. He's just a lion stuffed animal, a phantom you personify with the delusions inside your own mind. Ooh, that's not true. Sakutaro is my friend. He was a stuffed animal once, but now he isn't. No, he's a stuffed animal. A stuffed animal made of cloth and cotton. He can't move or talk by himself. You're just talking for him like a ventriloquist, right? You call that magic? You call that a witch? You call that a friend? I can't accept that. Uryu? Am I? Not me? Am I just a stuffed animal that can't really talk and not Maria's friend? Uryu? As though struck with a high fever, Sakutaro weakened bit by bit. As he clung to Oni-chan's body, he did all he could to continue standing. But his body began to gradually slip down. As he did, Oni-chan held him, yelling at me as tears streamed down her face. Ooh. Stop it. Don't burn Sakutaro with the magic-resisting toxin. Don't bully him. Don't insult him. Don't deny him. Giggle. Maria Oni-chan, you're so weird. There is no Sakutaro. Stuffed animals are stuffed animals. I learned from Mama that they're made of cloth and cotton. There's no way they can walk or talk. Giggle, giggle, giggle. You. Sakutaro. You aren't a stuffed animal. You aren't a stuffed animal. You are a friend. Ooh. Wah. Giggle. Instead of playing with stuffed animals, it's better to play outside with everyone. I'm bored with stuffed animals already. I hate you, Angie. Ooh. Why say something like that? Hate, hate, hate. I hate you. You're not my friend. I won't let you be one of us witches anymore. Upon my name, the Apprentice Witch Origins Maria, I hereby expel the Apprentice Witch Angie from the Marriage Sorcery Alliance of Witches. And then, what had been peaceful days to me became a daydream and ended. By now it's impossible to prove. No one can verify whether that really was magic, or whether those really were my friends, or else nothing more than a daydream. I, the sole observer, concluded that they were a daydream. So that became the truth. Perhaps in the farther future, I'll observe it again, and when that happens, maybe I'll acknowledge that it wasn't a dream, and that the Seven Sisters really were my friends, and that along with Maria One-chan and Sakutaro, they did everything they could for me in my isolation. Something so vague is neither the truth nor an illusion. Maybe the reality here and now is that the only world with the real me. Where is the real me? The person standing amidst the girl's exposed wreckage that resembled broken glass sculptures. That makes me think of the video game Grandia 3. Like I said, out of the PS2, definitely Dot Hack Sign is a good anime, which has Dot Hack Infection. There's also Dragon Quest VIII, Shining Force EXA, Dragon Quest VIII, Star Ocean Till the End of Time, Wild Arms 3, Grandia 3. That girl who's breathing harshly, her shoulders heaving, isn't me. I'm over there. That me that's surrounded by a crowd and being showered by jeers and who's hanging her head, her eyes red, isn't the me over there. The real me? I won't dream anymore, because there's nowhere left to run. I'm going back. I'll return myself to the cage made of flesh. Hey, are you listening to us? It's not like anything we resolve if you just stand there hanging your head, right? I hear you. Ah, you finally answered. You aren't thinking that this will end if you stay silent, or that we'll forgive you if you cry, right? We're asking if you are aware. We're asking if you're aware of the trouble you're causing those around you. I slowly nodded. I acknowledged it. I acknowledged that I had slipped into the world of my daydreaming, trying to remain separate from the others in my class, to separate myself from the disgrace of those sisters who spoke to me with reliable and kind words, despite being unable to help when I really wanted them to. I acknowledged that. I, Ushiromi Angie, do not have a cooperative attitude and cause trouble for my classmates. There is nothing to blame for that except my excessive inferiority complex towards all my classmates because of my inability to study. And it's a shame that I'm alive. Starting there, I was no longer reading the paragraph they'd made me write. It was me improvising, and it was what was in my heart. They noticed that it wasn't what they had anticipated. But while they did frown, no one spoke, so I continued. That's right. It's a shame that I lived. I should have had them take me with me on the day of 1986, and yet I was the only one who wasn't taken. Why am I here? This isn't the world I'm supposed to be in. No one will save me. For a time I felt as though only the fictional friends I created inside myself could save me, but those friends were nothing more than a delusion, and they didn't save me at all. After all this isn't a world of imagination but a world of reality. So in short, up until today I've been having the same daydream. I hated my real classmates and only lived by interacting with the friends in my mind. Just now, I split up with those friends. So I am here. I have no family. Thrown my friends away too. There's no longer anything left for me. Why haven't I died? Someone asked that a short while ago. I think they're right. Why am I alive? I should have died in the year 1986. No, I must really have died. And yet, my dead soul is still locked up inside this cage of flesh. So I'll ask someone. If no one answers, I'll do it myself. Please. I spoke that sentence and looked around. Dumbfounded girls, shocked girls, girls whose faces seemed to be saying, "What the heck is this kid talking about?" And a bit late, more and more girls with faces that said, "Is this girl alright?" Whisper, chatter, and then giggle. When I ordered the friends in my daydream to kill, they couldn't do it. And so, I asked real humans to kill me. But of course, these girls can't do it either. In other words, both daydreams and reality are the same. Doesn't this mean that, including this world, absolutely everything is a daydream? Then there's no problem, right? After all, on that day when I lost my family, I was already dead. Everything that happened afterward is going on in my head like my life flashing before my eyes after I failed to die. Once I understood that, it felt like the scenery surrounding me began to twist and bend slightly. Yeah. I'll finally wake up. I'll be released from this daydream world. I feel my consciousness sliding away. That's all right. Fade further and further away and take me to my family. Then, no matter what happens in this twisted, stale world, I won't mind at all. I saw the crowd getting pushed aside as a teacher stepped in. Perhaps a teacher doing the rounds happened to notice a strange disturbance. The teacher was vigorously shouting something moving to protect me. Watching that, I wonder if it was actually possibly Burnt Castell. I knew that an ally had appeared for me, even if there was only one, and I felt my awareness return very slightly. The only ones who can save me in the world of reality are real humans. Never again. Never again will I seek rescue from daydreams. This is the world of humans. Nothing can save a human except other humans. I see. If that's what you think, then that's your world, Angie. Can Angie find happiness this way? If Angie believes that that's the only way to find happiness, then it's the only way. If she can't accept the blue bird in the cage for what it is, then she must go and search forever. Who are you? Maria, are you breaking off relations with Angie? No, nothing like that. I only did that because that's what Angie wanted. We witches are sometimes persecuted. However, we always remain by everyone's sides, and our aid can always be asked for. Will the day come when Angie will play with us again? Maybe. Or she might forget and it'll never come. In the human world, we can call that growing up and saying goodbye to your childhood self. Still, if Angie just remembers, we'll always be by her side. And until then, we'll be waiting. Are you?